Good morning.
Thanks for coming out. It's lovely to see so many faces here. So neat. Yes. We don't have as many people here that, being in this space, and it's very small and intimate. So thank you for coming out. And for those of you on YouTube land, welcome. Thanks for watching. And for those of you that are online in ACIM Gather and Pal Talk, welcome. Here at CMC, we're not just here in San Francisco in the Bay Area. The majority of the members of CMC are in the United States as a whole. So, and a lot of the reverends don't physically live here in the Bay Area, and so this is the reason why that we have YouTube and we have ACIM Gather and Pal Talk in order to reach out our congregation and members so they can be a part. And thank you so much, Reverend Lauren, for being here. Such a pleasant surprise and such a beautiful voice. Thank you. And so I think the majority of the people that I talk to don't know about A Course in Miracles. And so I have the privilege, the honor to let them know about this book that I've been studying for the past 2 years, and that I've read back to back. I don't know if anybody has the book right now, but it's pretty. Yeah, it's large. It's a lot. It is an epic tome that was originally published in 1975, and it's written in Shakespearean language. And it is, a lot of it, it uses Christian terminology, but it's a reframing of Christian ideas and terminology. And it's basically the voice of Jesus saying, hey, this is what I really meant. There's been so many translations of the Bible that it's hard to know what really is what has been said by the historical Jesus. And this is just another account, as there are many accounts out there and many books. One thing that I really value about A Course in Miracles is the workbook section. It's very practical. It's got 365 lessons for every day of the year. And this is, and it's said in the beginning, is that you don't have to believe in this. Just like whatever is true and whatever exists whether you believe in it or not. So just do the lessons, and then eventually you'll get somewhere. But it's about the process, though. And so how I came to the Course of Miracles, many years of searching for the truth, belonging to growing up in Christianity and leaving the church behind, and searching on my own through many numerous spiritual practices and metaphysical texts. And I kept on hearing about A Course in Miracles from these spiritual teachers that I would listen to that would talk about love and light. And it just kept on over years and years. It's just like A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles. And it's like, okay, one of these days, and then looking at it, I'm like, there's no way I'm reading this. to say. I am dyslexic. I have a hard time reading in general. I don't know if I could do that. And so that's where CMC came in. There was a time that I became ready to just read this thing. And they offered a class, ICM 1 and ICM 2. And so with a group of people on the phone every week, reading through the entire text and then going through the workbook. And I have, in fact, been able to hammer down a spiritual practice, daily spiritual practice, which was pretty awesome. And, of course, a spiritual community in which I belong. They are awesome and super supportive.
Yes, we are.
And so, one of the things that came up when I started studying Course in Miracles, started going to Community Miracle Center, which was originally over in the Castro on Market Street, is that I was struggling with my identity. At first, I was embracing more or less of my queer identity, and then through the relationship that I had with Logan. Hello, Logan.
Hi, Logan. Hi.
Very good friend. That we were exploring together, and I didn't even know. Like many hours and hours and hours of talking about gender. And this was while I was studying A Course in Miracles. That, yeah, for them a little sooner than I think their journey started a little bit, yeah, just a tad sooner. Yeah, then I'm finally, when they were in the process of wanting to be addressed by a different name and different pronouns, I was having a conversation with my mom, and I said, hey Mom, by the way, they're going by this name now and these pronouns. They, them, not he, she. That's a little bit harder, so. And I was trying to explain in a language that my mom would be able to understand, and then it came out of my mouth. I don't identify as a woman. Never had. And I've said this many times, actually. This is not the first time that I've said this, but it finally dawned on me that there's something to that. There's something to that. But it's like, but I'm not a man, am I? I don't think so. So that's where it all unraveled, and my identity, gender identity, which happened to a lot of people would consider one like a core identity, even more so than race. It got completely just the rug just got pulled out from under me, and I'm like, ooh, who am I? Who am I? This yet again, another existential crisis. Of like trying to find the truth. Trying to find the truth. And coming to the realization after going online and watching many videos and reading lots of articles, that the term, the identity of being transgender applied to me. But not only that, but also non-binary as well, which is, those of you that may not know, it is not exclusively male or female. So it's a pretty broad term. It's the least labeliest of labels there ever could be. And a space for me to just kind of say, okay, I'm not this identity that I was that I have been going by for this 38 years of my life, and something else. So there's another piece as to the coming to the course that also was very important, and thank you. Oh wow. Okay. Is the having grown up with the Christian background, being born Catholic, and being baptized as Catholic, and then not too long after that, it was about in the early years, formative years, maybe 2 or 3, I'd have to roughly, my mom, who is the religious one and now the spiritual one of the family, our matriarch, we converted to Seventh-day Adventist, which is an interesting denomination in Christianity, those of you know. Yes. Yes. Some of you know. Okay, yeah. And later on, after a semester stint at a boarding school that was Seventh-day Adventist, I was just like, I'm done. I'm done with this. But my mom still told me, yeah, you still have to go to church. I'm like, ugh. Okay. So I went to a Wesleyan church that a friend of mine was going to, and had a very charismatic pastor. And so for the remainder of my teenage years, I guess up until 18, I was going to the Wesleyan church. And then after that, after I was 18 and I did my duty, I was like, no more, I'm not going to church anymore. No more. And it was a period of 10 years that I was doing the sort of spiritual searching, reading stuff from different religions, different spiritual practices, and but I decided around the age of 30 that I should go back to church in some way, shape, or form, and started going to a Unitarian Universalist church. Very open and very accepting. Aren't you going, Brother Lauren, aren't you becoming?
I was UU, I'm now with the UCC.
Oh, UCC, okay. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, and you're going to Pacific right now, the Pacific School?
Pacific School of Religion.
Yes, I've heard so many good things about that. Sorry, an aside. And so it was part of Unitarian Universalist Church for I think a couple of years, and then I became a part of the Spiritualist Church, which believes in life after life, or life after death, and communicating with those that have transitioned and passed on, our loved ones, and that was useful. However, there was a missing piece, and I feel like coming to CMC, coming to A Course in Miracles, fulfilled that, in the sense that I still appear to be in this body. I'm having this experience. Why is it that I'm so eager to get out of it, to transcend it? Why is it that I'm so eager? That came from wanting to not be a part of this world, to take my life, to wanting to just not be in a body anymore, like to transcend the body and to be a spirit. So, but it was more or less kind of the same thing. So it was in this process that I, coming here and feeling comfortable in being in this warm and loving and inclusive community of CMC, that I was able to tell them what I've been grappling with as far as my gender, and that I also need to find other places of support and community. And thus comes in I just recently came back from a retreat in Chicago called Rooted. It was a trans Christian leadership retreat. And where I have talking with other people that are also reconciling their trans identity, and they're either identifying as Christian, which I personally am still like kind of struggling with, although I do tell people I'm Christian, just to kind of like, I don't want to talk anymore about, I want to talk about ACM right now. This is what, yeah. And who are Christian or had come from a Christian upbringing, and it was really powerful to be in that space of 40 or so people. That a word that people use a lot is intersectionality. So there was intersectionality between trans, Christian, and then also POC, to people of color, which I've been kind of like, hey, yeah, that's me too. My last name's Sanchez. I'm half Mexican and half Cuban, first generation American. And so it was all those things that I'm still processing, and that is wonderful. Coming out to my mom a couple weeks ago, she was that I worried the most about what she would think. The person that and she was completely, totally, just overwhelmingly, sure, I'm gonna call you by Lucas now. And I'm gonna call you Mijo. And because I did tell her, I was like, the O and the masculine and feminine, I don't know where I lie. And because the Spanish language is like you have to choose between, okay, to those you. And so it's like, do I have to choose? Okay, for now, for you, Mom. Okay, this will work for now. And so the title of this talk, "The Space Between No Longer and Not Yet," which was taken from a quote from Nancy Levin, who was a Hay House author, from "Jump and Your Life Will Appear," which talks about the present moment, but I think that it also talks about transition between the thought of the past and the present, past and the future, the present, of where we truly are in the present. Where I feel like I am in this sort of in-between space, but perhaps we all are in this in-between space at all times. And from the reading, here the shadow of the past remains, but still the present light is dimly recognized. The shadow of the past and the light of the future. You can't go back. You recognize and acknowledge the shadow, but you can't forget the light, because this is who I am, what we truly are. And this leads me to think of, I'm telling you my personal story so you get to know me a little bit more of what I haven't really talked about much before. But I believe that in what I've been dealing with in my personal life is also what is going on in our community, in our country, in the US right now, where things are a little scary. For the struggles that we have, the seemingly opposing views, conflicting values of the past and the present, of the separatism, slavery, and racism of the past that is still not quite put to rest, and that we are going to address. We are. This is what we're doing. We're not going backwards. I want to believe that we're not going backwards. That we're just bringing to light what has been in the shadows so we can move forward. To where we will ultimately go, to equality and to love. This is who we are. And this is who we are, and this is what I, in the future, will like to talk more about in many different ways and shapes. So thank you so much for coming out here.